Greetings, Performance Reviews, where I give you the review from the technician's point of view. And today we have a Dyson V11. And if you haven't seen my Dyson V11 review, one, it's kind of trash. Two, you probably should watch it, because I said when this first came out that this would be a major issue, and boy has it been a major issue. This tight opening here, let's go ahead and open this, gets jammed with stuff all the time. This filter, almost impossible to maintain without saturating the HEPA filter with junk and debris, so you end up having just to change the whole thing. And then on top of it, it's a little bit bulky. So this is the latest version of the V10. This is an SV27, so SV27, and yeah, it's nasty. So today we're going to go and clean this out. I'm going to show you how to restore suction and fix this. We're also going to tackle the anti-tangle nozzle that is tangled up. So we're going to go ahead and deal with that as well. So stay tuned. Make sure you watch the entirety of the video so you don't miss anything. And let's deep dive into this. And the first thing I'm going to do is clean this out. Go ahead and take care of that clog the best way possible with a central vacuum. All right, there's a couple things we're going to do here. One, with this bin assembly, in order to wash it properly, you have to take it apart. To do that, it's got a tiny little Torx screw right there, and this will just pop out. And if you want to give it a helping hand with the flat blade, you can. We'll just under here and give it a, see if we can get, sometimes two is the way to go. So once that, there we go. So now we can wash that. Set that aside. We need to focus on the main part of this, separating that cyclone, which is all in good fun. So to do that, first thing we're going to do is undo the screws that are right here. Hopefully my other camera's picking this up. Next, there are 4 screws in here, which are almost possible to get with a regular screwdriver. I wish these were Torx in here, but they're not. These are the Japanese industrial standard. It's kind of like a Phillips, but slightly different. Of course, I have a set of screwdrivers just for those. So after we're taking those 4 screws out, these 2, boom, all that separates. So now we have access to the cyclones to clean them out. We also have access to the motor, which won't turn on. Now if there's water damage, you can go ahead and get to this board and let it dry out. I generally don't like to do that though. Then in here, well, that's where the fun begins. So now we have a T8. And we get to take that cyclone apart. Next we're going to take the 3 big ones out here. You'll notice these screws are longer than the rest. This guy's going to be really stubborn because it's interlocked into this thing. There's a couple ways you can do this. Sometimes, with a little bit of brute force, you can just pull it off. Sometimes, they need a little bit of help. And that's where a screwdriver going down here would be super useful. It allows all the stuff in there. It's just got to pop up over this edge. Now if I brute force it, everything just kind of comes apart. That's really all you're doing, is getting that separated so you can get in there and wash all that, because that certainly is nasty. So that's how you separate that. that's as far as I like to go. I have not found it necessary to take the Cyclone apart any further, though it does come apart with some other screws if we really, really, really want. So yeah, we're going to wash that and this stuff here. Next, let's talk about our anti-tangle thing that's tangled. So take a coin or a really big screwdriver, give that a half twist. Stuff really tends to build up in here. There's your anti-tangle of your anti-tangle. Yeah. So this is why I say there's no such thing as an anti-tangle vacuum. And if you have needle nose pliers, now would be the time to deploy them in there and just pull out all the anti-tangle. You can see there's like a clothing tag in there that's pretty big. So I've got most of that hair out. And then we just want to take care of that. Then we just want to pull that out and look in there. So now, again, we're going to clean it all out. All right, it's a new day. Everything's been washed. Let's reassemble it. Now, quick note, in the background you might hear a lot of noise. They're redoing the roof in the building I'm in, so sorry about that. So let's go ahead and assemble this. Unless this is nice and clean, sometimes these get dirty and nasty and have gotten water in them, and once that happens, that's the end of it. But the only part should ever get wet are probably these two things right here, and you want to let them dry for several days. So let's go ahead and assemble this. You'll notice as you're assembling this, like the gaskets kind of just go everywhere. And when we assemble this, you want to line up, and you'll see where everything should be lined up. That, I hope it's visible on camera, but there's deep down there's some notches where all this just lines up. And yeah, there we go. Of course, I've pinched my finger in there. So we'll line up the gasket in the middle here. Believe it or not, this gasket's really, if it's not in place, this is going to work just fine. This plastic grips down tight enough that it will deform and form a gasket, but have that intact, of course, we want to. And one more thing is, as you're doing this, just make sure the cable's going out of its way back to its home. All right. You kind of want to just soft fit everything. Again, like in this case, something's just out of place, and it's all very soft, and you can just kind of manipulate it back into place. See, now it's sealed up. Again, you want to just tuck this wire in, make sure it's in the right place, and no wires or anything right there. So that's all where it should be. Now, of course, we can put the screws back in. So that is all almost together. Now the next two screws go through the handle right here. And again, I don't know why they made these the Japanese industrial standard instead of just a Torx 8 like the rest of it. I would much have rather had that Torx 8. I think this kind of encourages customers to go in here and get to things they shouldn't get to. Right, next, this gasket benefits from either a little bit of silicone or a little bit of furniture polish with silicone in it. I'm going to use the latter in this case. So we're just going to rub that down, and you want to just rub the gaskets down. And the reason for this is this allows the machine to glide a little bit more smoothly when we reattach this. So, and of course, I'll have a link down below to a new one of these, but replace these filters like every 6 months. Don't go very long without replacing them. Excellent. So that's all working, nice and clean. Now we're going to put together this. And this is really kind of dirty still, despite having been freshly washed. These tend to melt off. And again, you want to just make sure all the hair is clean from in here, because hair does get just stuck in these. That's pretty good. Again, you want to use a coin or a really big screwdriver. Again, this is a number 5, but if you have something smaller, don't use it. You want like a number 5 or a number 6 screwdriver in here. So that all goes back and forth very nicely. And we're just going to go ahead and give it just a quick test run, make sure all that works. And oh, look what we sucked in. Ain't that interesting? See? Had a clog in it. That's why we always test these. This clog was in the nozzle. Wow, that was exciting. Usually when I'm putting things back together, there's nothing like that. So there was a little bit of a clog in here, and a clog in this main tube too. And it just sucked that out with the central vacuum. And that's kind of the problem, is if you look in this, it's not round. This is probably a better example. So it's just 1.25 inches or 32 millimeters, like the bare minimum you want for airflow. And this is under that, and that's why things get stuck in here so easily, along with this tight turn here. Again, just like the DC50 that had the same problems. So hopefully this has helped you understand what needs to be done with your Dyson to fully clean it and service it and restore its suction. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to support the channel, there'll be links below to some of the common supplies for this. I also have a link to better vacuum cleaners if you don't want to deal with this nonsense. You don't have to. You can always get a better vacuum cleaner. Big note, if you really like what we're doing, check out our Patreon, where we have exclusive videos and content, and it's a great way to support the channel directly. Thank you so much, our Patreons, for helping make these videos possible. Well, thanks for watching. Have yourself a great day.